Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review, and today we'll be continuing our looks at the Transformers Age of the Prime aerial bots, not aerialbits. That's what my phone calls them when it reads it back to me, so if I say aerialbits, it's because I hear it all the freaking time, and, well, at this point I've heard it ad nauseum because of trying to track these guys down. Either way, today we're looking at Deluxe Class Slingshot, not to be confused with Slingshit, which is what my dad called him when he ordered him for me, because legally blind and all. That said, this guy's brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, who will remain fine folks despite the fact that, much like Air Raid, I did have to heat a piece up on him to get him to transform, which is not convenient for me, but at least I was able to fix it. So if I could fix the problem within 20 minutes or so, then fine, but I will say this guy was a little bit more of a pain in the ass to fix than Air Raid. It wasn't as easy of a spot to get to. But before I get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Slingshot, to be confused with Slingshit, has to offer in terms of accessories. He's got these two little missile pods here, which do the job. You know, they're missile pods. You can actually mount them on his forearms or put them in his hands. But as far as his robot mode goes, he is not falling over because he has ankles for days. Holy cow. Or should I say heels for days. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I like the fact that he ain't falling on his ass all the time. So, you know, I'll take it, I guess. He is a little wobbly in the waist because he does turn into armor for the arm. Or should I say armored, for those of you who are numbskulls. You know who you are. But as far as articulation goes, his head is on a ball joint, which honestly could be tighter. I mean, it's not the loosest thing, but it's not the tightest. And unlike Air Raid, he actually has a landing gear that flips out on the back of his head there. I think Vortex from the Combaticons had the same type of configuration, if I'm not mistaken. But as far as shoulders go, they will hinge up. They hinge up kind of weird. If you remember my, what's his name? Scorpnot from Rise of the Beasts review from way back in December. He moved similar to this, so a little bit trickier to pose this guy, but it is what it is. Can rotate the arm. He's got a single jointed elbow that gets way more than 90 because it's technically a double joint. So that's nice. He's got a bicep swivel. Then nothing in the wrist, but Air Raid didn't have that either, so it is what it is. Waist will rotate just fine. And then his hips will kick out, back down. He does have a thigh cut, as well as a hinge at the knee, which gives you 90 degrees despite the giant leg kibble. And then he actually, to my surprise, has a little ankle rocker, which is nice. You can get him flat-footed. I don't know about an ankle. I mean, you could do that, but he doesn't really have an ankle hinge that moves the entire ankle piece, if you will. But what he does have are little missile pods that we can put in his hands to act as his blasters. Right there. And right there. And now he has two little blasters. Pew pew! Very, very cool. I don't know, I think this guy gets a bad rap because he's not as cool as Air Raid, to be honest with you. And while I have to agree he's not, I don't outright hate him like a lot of the community does. I don't know, everyone's like, those ankles! And I'm just like, well, he ain't gonna fall down. So, yay me, I guess. More for me, whatever the saying is. But standing him up there so we can bring in our two regulars. Hopefully not knock into the review set this time when I pull them out. That's what she said. We have the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith right there. And the infamous 11 Spawn. As usual, towers over everyone. So with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and while I don't hate good old Slingshot as much as the rest of the Transformers community does, at least so it seems, I will admit that he is not as strong of a release as his aerial bot teammate Air Raid, but at the end of the day, I don't have to worry about him falling over and can put him in pretty much any pose I want, and he will stay right there and not fall on his ass. So, bonus points for stability, because a lot of figures nowadays can't stand on their own 2 feet, and, well, we'll be looking at one shortly that is incapable of doing that in almost every regard, unfortunately. No, it's not an aerial bot, but it is from Transformers nevertheless. So, with that being said, before we wrap this up, I think it is now time that we transform Slingshot into his jet mode. And as promised, here we have a good old Slingshot, not to be confused with Slingshot, in his jet mode. Once again, not entirely sure what kind of jet it is, but it is a jet nonetheless. Taking a closer look at him, see, very, spaceship looking nose cone, but at any rate, much like Air Raid, I did have a piece that didn't want to fit, and it was this front piece here. It of course fits now, goes right in. This is like the umpteenth time I've done this, so it does fit now, but earlier this was not snapping on for shit. So yeah, once again, QC a little off with these first 2 aerial bots. If I'm not mistaken, these were the first 2 aerial bots, so odd that the ones with no mold degradation had the issues. That said, underside's pretty clean. Not a lot of kibble to be had here. He does have his missile pods on the bottom. And yeah, he does actually have landing gear too. I'm not sure if Air Raid is supposed to or not. I didn't find any. He's got like some slot on the underside of his nose cone, but I couldn't get anything to come out of there. That's what she said. So, very odd that both this guy and Firefly actually both have something, but Air Raid, and I'm assuming Skydive, who I'm still kind of waiting on, don't have nothing, but very sleek alt mode nonetheless. So, with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this review, until next time, catch you guys later.